Now please rise and remove any headwear as we stand at attention for the playing of our national anthem.
Welcome to Cheyenne High School. I'm Aaron Knodel. Joining me tonight is Coach Dan Wolf. And now we're going to hear from the announcer an introduction of our cheerleaders and starting lineups. So we'll do that, and we'll talk a little bit about the game plan for Coach Hintz tonight.
Brooke Barber, Olivia Shum, and Isabella Lane. And now let's meet today's starters. Grand Forks Central starting lineup. Number 3, 5'8" senior, Lauren Hillman. Number 5, 5'8" senior, Maddie Milo. Number 24, 5'9" senior, Paige Giroux. Number 13, a 5'5" junior, Maren Ari. And number 15, a 5'9" senior, Sophia Roll. Tonight's are coached by head coach DJ Burris. He's assisted by Maurice Scott, Christine Roque, Aaron Erickson, and Mercedes Baumgartner. Now starting tonight for your Cheyenne Mustangs, at guard, number 3, 5'6" sophomore, Kate Bregman. Also at guard, number 22, a 5'7" junior, Olivia Manson. Forward, number 5, a 6' sophomore, Maya Metcalf. Also at forward, number 13, a 5'11" senior, Gabe Price. Starting at center, a 6' sophomore, number 14, Carson Sanders. The Mustangs are coached by head coach Brent Hintz. He's assisted by Sherry Delane, Caitlin Coots, and Master Law. The officials for tonight's game are registered by the North Dakota High School Activities Association and have been selected for their demonstrated ability to officiate. Tonight's officials are Adam Brandt, Jeff McCracken, and Brandon.
They're looking to do a lot of what they've been working on all this year was to have a little bit of pressure up front from their guards and try to utilize some of their size down low with Metcalf, Sanders, and senior forward Jaden Feist. So what do you look for out of the Mustangs tonight?
I think just exactly the things you talked about. I think the last time we were able to do a game together was a game against Devils Lake, and I think that was kind of a blueprint for Coach Hintz in terms of the types of things that they need to be able to do, taking care of the ball, pressuring the ball, and then trying to convert based on that. And I'm guessing that's what he's trying to do as they work their way through the EDC schedule and end up playing those top-tier teams in a couple of weeks.
So that's Feist with the tip. The Mustangs win it. Defensively for the Mustangs, one of the things that Coach Hintz talked about was especially trying to minimize the effectiveness of number 24 for the Grand Forks Central Knights. That's Haley Giroux. He was concerned about what she could do, but there you go. Just as we saw it, the Mustangs said, bring it down low. They find 2 points early, and there's that pressure. And just like that, the kick out for three, that's Manson for three. She is one of the three-point specialists for the Mustangs. So a quick 5 points for the Mustangs out of the gate. But the answer there for Central, now it's 5-3, 17 minutes to play. A little bit of a flurry right away from both sides here. High post to Feist and then down low. Sanders looks for an opportunity to spin, but she is fouled.
It looks like Central's trying to start out in a little bit of zone look against Cheyenne, and I think they're going to try and work that high-low combination if they can, getting the ball in to one of the posts at the high post and then looking down low as Jaden Feist puts up one near the basket, and that's going to offer a nice look and a conversion and a three-pointer by Peyton Breidenbach.
So Breidenbach able to hit there, and I think, Coach, we've already seen exactly what Hintz wanted, a little bit of post action and then the three ball. But Central able to answer almost immediately, and that's the person they're most concerned with. That's 24. That's Giroux with her first bucket of the night. 8-5 now, Mustangs. Stolen again by Giroux. She gets all the way down the floor, but good defensive stop there by number 3, Breidenbach. She pushes ahead.
And it's such a fine line between pace and pushing the ball up the floor but making smart passes, and I think that one was one that Coach Hintz and probably Peyton Breidenbach would wish she had back, probably looking for a little too much in that situation because they just didn't have the numbers.
So Breidenbach fortunate to keep the ball in possession of the Mustangs. Look down low for Metcalf, doesn't answer, so we'll see Feist at the top of the key. There's under 10 on the shot, but that's a good little spin move there by Carson Sanders in the post, and she's able to put one in for 2. Mustangs 10, Knights 5 early. Good stop in the backcourt there.
Better defensive sequence for the Mustangs here. Having that court awareness of where the Knights were spread out that time. First couple of times, Cheyenne looked a little bit rusty and not quite certain where the Knights were lined up on the floor, and Central was able to break that press pretty quickly.
You could hear Coach Hintz from the sideline saying hustle, hustle, hustle. Couple of offensive rebounds there he's unpleased with. And the Central Knights will retain possession here, looking to execute something in the half court. Good steal there by Sanders. She looks to the middle, and that's going to leave the three-point specialist Manson open, and she connects on her second already.
That's probably not the person you want standing alone shooting a three-pointer if you're Grand Forks Central. Manson can make those all night long, and so I think that's something just in a rotation that Central didn't do properly, and they're going to turn it over here with an over and back call.
So I was just talking to Coach, legendary Coach Gene Manson before the game. This guy he's in every gym in the country, I think, right now, watching one of the Manson kids hit threes. So whether it's former Mustang Maggie Manson at UND or watching his boy, his grandson shoot threes for the boys on the varsity side, and he's got a granddaughter out here shooting threes tonight too. So with that, we'll take a quick timeout. 14:31, Mustangs up 10 early.
You're watching Cheyenne Mustang Media.
Back to live action here. Central inbound. Full court pressure here by the Mustangs. A type of a little bit of soft trap doesn't happen. Metcalf, great position there on defense. A couple of sloppy outlet passes by the Mustangs, and Central's able to turn them over after a really good defensive position by Metcalf.
Those are the things that drive you crazy as a coach. Cheyenne, great position. Maya Metcalf, excellent job on Giroux there for the defensive stop, and then that quick outlet pass, which I know that's what Cheyenne's looking to do, but you just have to take care of the ball and see the floor before you start pushing.
Central tries a little drop pass on that possession. Would have been great, but unfortunately the Knight was standing out of bounds and didn't secure both feet in before they caught the basketball, so that was out of bounds on the Knight. So now the Mustangs will look in their half court. High post entry to Feist, who kicks into the corner. Sanders unable to connect there, and the Central Knights look to push. Manson jumps the pass. Loose ball picked up there, and a push ahead by Metcalf, and she's able to connect there. Good run out by Metcalf. Good steal. I think Breitenbach got that one free, and she was able to find Metcalf streaking up the floor. Again, good position by the Mustangs to stop that drive, force Central into a quick shot. So back up, Manson looks to the same spot again, that one off iron. Powerful rebound by number 5, Maya Metcalf, but they call her for a little bit of a shove trying to grab the board.
I think that's a foul that Coach Hintz can live with. Anytime you have a player that's being active on the offensive glass, you're going to be happy as a coach. That's what you want, is players that are going to fight for those rebounds.
So a couple of substitutions, one of those being Heacock. She comes right in and tips the ball out of bounds. Fagerland on the other side for the Mustangs. Also in is Lexus Terhark. And just like that, Terhark almost makes a steal. Good hustle play, and that ends up with the Central Knight dribbling it off her foot, so a turnover there. And the Mustangs continue with their full court press. And just as Hintz had drawn this up, he said, I want pressure, and I want to be able to use that interior presence, and when it's not there, the kick out for 3. So pretty much everything by design that he's asked for, he's gotten tonight so far, right, Coach?
Absolutely. They're shooting it well. They're putting that pressure on. They've created turnovers. They've gotten good looks. I think just a couple of things defensively they want to clean up as Jaden Feist steps in the lane and takes a steal away.
Feist pushed the ball up the middle of the floor. She had Metcalf on her right-hand side, and as she tried to find her over there, one of the Central Knights snagged her arm, and that will be a foul. That foul on number 31 for the Knights, Lauren Reardon, her first, team second. Elbow entry. Oh, and a great steal there. And a great hustle play in return by Heacox.
Looks like the Mustangs are trying to set with that high post with Feist, and they got the ball where they wanted it, but she dropped that pass down, or that ball down from up at eye level, and had it poked away.
And a great move there by number 24. That's Giroux, who's able to sneak around on a good pick on the out-of-bounds play, and she finds a bucket. Coach Hintz did say Giroux is somebody that is to be reckoned with, and he was concerned about how they'd match up. So she's found a couple buckets early, but a 10-point lead for the Mustangs. So we got 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Great grab there by Maya Metcalf, but she didn't like what she saw. She kicked it back out. Great board. Good work down there by Metcalf, trying to find a couple off the glass.
She's working hard down there.
And great position there by Jaden Feist. Doesn't commit the foul. Almost could have taken a charge there, but because she probably stayed on her feet, it ended up being a block shot. Good drop pass by the Knights. Mustangs needed one more defender peeling back to stop that from a Giroux layup, and she's able to connect, I think, on her 6th point already of the night. Trying to deny Jaden Feist in that high post, and Metcalf looks down low, and I think that's swatted away. Central looks for a 2-on-1, and they find it with a left-handed layup. So Hintz has seen a couple of run-out layups here, 2-on-1 opportunities after a turnout, and with that, he will take a timeout to talk things over. 6-point lead early, 11 minutes to play. We'll take a timeout too. Mustangs will inbound. So Cheyenne comes into this game 3-4. Central coming in at 0-6. But I did talk to Coach Wolf about that record. It can be a little deceiving. They've been in a lot of games and just haven't been able to get over the top. And that's one of the things, you know, if you worry a little bit about something as a coach, is players might not get up for a game where they see somebody's record and they think to themselves all they have to do is show up. So I know that was a point of emphasis for Coach Hintz this week.
And that's just it. A team like Central, as you pointed out, has been in games, and lots of times it's just kind of figuring out. It might just be a couple more good possessions offensively and a couple of good defensive stops might have made the difference between a win and a loss, and they're close. And you're right, Coach Hintz does not want to see his team just taking this for granted because they see an 0-6 record for Grand Forks Central.
Drive there on the baseline. They've had a couple opportunities that have been created by that attack to the block with a dump pass, and they looked for one there, but that one sails out of bounds, stays in the possession of the Knights. They're going to call the Knights for a double dribble at the top there. Sort of set up in the half court. Again, they look to the interior. Great find, great hands there. Maya Metcalf for a bucket.
Kept that ball high the entire time, received that pass high, kept the ball high, and that was the difference. Didn't bring it down low where there was a chance for a Central defender to knock it out of her hand.
And if you can complement the offense, you got to complement the defense. So Central takes a shot there, but it's Maya Metcalf closing out and forcing a look that probably was a little bit uncomfortable when you got somebody Maya's speed and size running out at you. So Central looks to maneuver around the left-hand side. Got Terhark off her feet for a second. Great post, but unable to finish, and that's a Metcalf rebound. Mustangs look to push. Central in position to set up their zone. Into the high post, great find there, and an attack to the rim, but that falls off the iron. Little frustration there on number 15, Brooke Johnson, that she wasn't able to connect on that layup. But Coach Hintz, when you miss shots like that, there's at least a bittersweet moment of recognizing that the three passes were were excellent.
You got to figure those will fall at some point, so just the recognition and the ball movement creating such good looks, that's what you've got to be pleased with.
And you could tell that the Mustangs, they feel comfortable breaking this 2-3 action by passing through it. Couple of good looks again there, not able to connect, but so far moving the ball pretty well.
You almost want to feel like Cheyenne isn't shooting it well, but I think it's because they were so hot to begin with, and it makes it feel like a couple of missed shots, like they're not shooting well. But I think as a group overall, they're shooting very well in the first half.
And that's a good elbow jumper there by number 20 for the Knights. Aspen Thompson with the connection. Open look for three. That was right on line, but just a little bit short. Fagerlund wasn't able to connect there.
Cheyenne's fortunate there to get the ball back, but there was a missed defensive assignment, some confusion by Central, and Brooke Johnson was all alone on the opposite side of the basket, and no one could find her.
So the Mustangs come in, Coach, with a record that's just under 500. Good, as we see a good post move and a foul down low on Maya Metcalf. But, Coach, you know, at 3-4, we talked about this at the last broadcast. This was the gauntlet of schedules for the Mustangs, trying to go through kind of the top of the EDC teams. Coach Hintz got to feel good that at least coming out of there in that near 500 range with his girls playing well, he knows that this is a long season and there's more to play.
Absolutely, and, you know, we saw them against Devil's Lake, and, you know, they've had to play Fargo Davies already, and then went over to Shanley and scored a huge victory for the program by winning at Shanley. So, you know, I think they're on the right track, but probably plagued by a little bit of inconsistency thus far. I'm guessing Coach Hintz would say they've played well in spurts, but putting that complete game together has kind of been the elusive thing so far for this program.
So Metcalf hits the free throw there, and Central will bring it back up. Feist looking to stop there. And a good back cut. Gets a left-handed layup for the Knights. No rebounder on the right side for the Mustangs. So the Knights will look to set up in their half court again. And that's an open three. Rims off. Good rebound there, and fight for it by Breidenbach. She doesn't see numbers, so she does a great job of just holding it up at an 8-footer. And she connects.
Excellent decision making. Saw she didn't have the numbers, but that the defender was willing to give up that short little jumper and got herself under control, went straight up, knocked it down.
A lot of noise coming from the Mustang bench, encouraging their defense. This is Breidenbach. You can hear Coach Hintz say, move your feet, and she does. And that forces Central to throw a wild one up at the end of the clock. Shot clock was winding down to just a couple of seconds. Lucky to hit iron probably even on that. And as Breidenbach pushes it forward, there's going to be a blocking foul.
Excellent defensive sequence for Cheyenne that last time down. Moving their feet, not getting beat with those backdoor cuts, and keeping themselves between their player and the basket. Excellent job that last time. Results in a poor play or a poor shot, forced shot at the end of the shot clock.
And that's a tremendous play there by Feist on the inbound play, recognizing that's a senior that understands the game. She just seals her opponent, and in doing so, she gets a 2-footer. And on the other end, probably makes a mistake that she'd take back. That one getting a little too tight to the defender and getting called for the bump.
A defender that's 25 feet away from the basket, not in position to shoot, probably a little bit too aggressive there. And you see that occasionally a player scores on one end and wants to capitalize on that with a big play on the defensive end and probably just ill-advised.
So now it's Manson defending up top, and another left-handed attack there by Central. They've been able to get through the left-hand side of the lane, but haven't been able to capitalize. So right now, Mustangs with the 12-point lead look to the high post. Feist rips it out of the hand of Central, but not before they call a jump ball. So that's actually going to go over to Grand Forks. Mustangs 25, Knights 13. 6.5 to play in the first half. Central slips through the middle of the defense there, but is stopped. Pick and roll. Stolen. That's Brenna Dick, who's able to go all the way down to it and finish. Brenna Dick is only a freshman, only freshman playing varsity right now. Good left hand there for a Mustang bucket. 6 minutes to play now. Great defense by Manson, forcing the cross. And on that crossover dribble, they called her for a carry. So it's going to go back to the Mustangs. And so with a 14-point lead, Grand Forks Central says we need to talk things over. So we'll take a timeout with them. 27-13 in favor of the Mustangs. So back in for the Mustangs here at under 6 minutes to play in the first half.
They have 6 EDC points.
And they're going to call a travel on the Mustangs. So as we said, the Mustangs come out of that gauntlet schedule early part of the season where they were probably asking Athletic Director Greg Limke, hey, I know it's your first year, but maybe we can split out some of these games a little bit. But anyway, the Mustangs with a really young team came out, still playing well, and they have gone 3-1 in their last 4 games with a tremendous battle up north against Grand Forks Red River, where they had Red River on the ropes multiple times on their home floor and ended up only losing by 1. So Coach Hintz is pleased with, despite the fact this has been a tough part of the schedule, the way the girls have turned things around. Inbound to Breidenbach. She'll take it up. Trap action on the right side. They'll look to trap the freshman, Brenna Dick, but she gets it out. And that swings all the way over. That's Olivia Manson, and she remains hot from the three-point line. I believe that's her third, isn't it, Coach?
I believe you're right. Mustangs have switched to a little man pressure coming up, a little full-court man pressure to try and see if they can force Central into some poor decision-making, some bad passes. Manson's going to launch another one there, off on that one, but in great position is Carson Sanders and puts it back for 2.
Gotta love the way that Manson's coming out, shooting with confidence and hitting those early threes, especially knowing that she's got bigs down low that are going to clean the glass. So Central looks for a pick and roll at the top. Ball loose for a second. They're going to call Sanders, I think, on the bump. 4 new Mustangs coming in, almost a wholesale change. It's a good luxury to have 4 substitutions at one time when you're playing kind of pressure that the Mustangs are right now. So,
well, I think we've seen that a little bit from the boys program as well, that both coaches utilizing that depth to their advantage by being able to rotate 3, 4, sometimes even 5 new players in to keep that freshness, to keep that intensity up on offense.
And that'll play a little bit more this year too. Nice move there by Metcalf. Great agility, catching the pass, putting it off the glass, fighting 2 defenders down there to get the basketball, and in the process, all they could do was foul, and that's their 6th team foul now. And the 3rd individual foul on number 31, Lauren Reardon, so that'll put Metcalf at the line. And she finishes. Central looks to push. And after the loose ball, Brenna Dick was a little out of position as she tried to recover. She comes across the body of the shooter, number 3.
Trying to be aggressive, but just a little over pursued a little bit. That opened up an angle for the Central player for number 25.
So that's number 3, Hillman at the free throw line, I believe.
Number 3, yes.
And that one goes through. So there seems to be a bit of an official timeout, maybe a team timeout. I'm not really sure if there's some conversation about the floor not being clean enough. We got assistant coach Sherry DeMaine out orchestrating a cleanup crew and says, hey, let's get this thing cleaned up so that there's no more injuries. So with that, Coach, a little bit of conversation probably should be had here about just the youth of the Cheyenne Mustangs and you know, is this both a blessing and a curse for Hintz in his program? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a little bit of both, especially a couple years ago, you know, with the crew that had Maggie Manson and those other seniors. You kind of had that luxury of building that group of players for a few years, and that might be the case for Coach Hintz in a couple of years, as they're very sophomore heavy with just the one senior and a couple of juniors on the roster. So I think right now is just going to be a lot of learning experience as these sophomores get into these opportunities to play, but it will pay dividends down the road. That's for sure. As long as they continue to be patient and Coach Hintz is patient with them and give themselves opportunities to kind of learn on the fly. There's no substitute for actually, you know, kind of being in that meat grinder, so to speak, and going to work and figuring things out on the fly.
So Coach DeMaine doing a little bit of a check under the hoop to see if it's safe enough for everybody to play. This reminds me of the old Boston Garden when they'd throw the parquet on the ice after a hockey game, and everybody's wondering why it's so slippery. So the Mustangs will come up with it now. Looks like the Central has fallen back into a man. Coach Hintz tells his players, hey, careful, we don't want to get trapped into that corner.
Yeah, the Central defender just kind of rode Hecox that way, and Hecox went along with it. That's just something, again, with Hecox being one of those sophomores, one of those things you kind of learn as time goes on, that you don't make that kind of mistake.
Great move there by Brenna Dick, the freshman, able to get all the way through into the interior of the lane, and she'll be able to have an N1 opportunity at the stripe here. Good finish for Brenna Dick. She gets caught on the shoulder of the Central offensive player, and Brenna Dick answers her good offensive series with a little bit of a whoopsie foul.
Yeah, I think Coach Hintz there reminding her that you want to keep that kind of arm's length from that defender that gives you a little bit of cushion so that can't happen to you, plus puts you in a better position to maybe take a swipe at the ball.
Good attack there and a three-point look, and an excellent shot for Terhark from the corner.
One thing I found kind of impressive tonight, Coach, is that you've had both Jaden Feist and now Maya Metcalf being put on Giroux, and Coach Hintz, that was the person he was most concerned with, and I think they're probably both giving up a little bit of quickness to Giroux, but I think they've held their own, especially trying to guard her as she brings the ball up the floor.
I did talk to Coach Hintz. He said he was going to try to give Giroux and the whole team a couple of different looks here. He wasn't sure how much man zone he was going to play. He was just going to kind of feel it out depending on what he saw from the other team. And so far, he's had the answers. So Knights only able to produce 15 points so far with just under 3 to go. Grand Forks looking for a pass down low. Attacks that baseline. And I think the arm angle on Breidenbach is going to get called for a foul.
It was a good attempt at a closeout, but instead of chopping those feet as she got close and breaking down for that defending that, she was in a full stride and a little pump fake, and the defender got by, and she was caught trying to catch up and got suckered into kind of a foolish foul there.
So 41-17 now, under 3 to go. The Knights have 17 fouls, so all the fouls remaining for the Mustangs will get to the free throw line. And as I said, that gets Manson there. Mustangs with 16 fouls, so if Central's able to do the same thing, they will also be shooting a bonus. So Manson does have 3 threes, so she is shooting hot. Let's see how she is from the stripe. She answers that. And now for her second. That one goes off back iron. Good rebound by Metcalf. And that gets an open 3 look there. Breidenbach's been shooting well from the 3-point line, and that shooting continues now. Boy, I don't know if it's been a point of emphasis or not with Hintz. But I have noticed the last couple of games that I've watched with the bigs down low, I can tell that they're really focused in on position and arm angle. That was a great example of it right there.
Absolutely. Metcalf held her ground, just kept those hands straight up, a little tip with that hand, and able to tip the ball and push Central into a turnover here, as Brooke Johnson's going to go to the line to shoot the front end of the 1-and-1.
Well, the old saying is the best ability is availability, and when it comes to post play, one of the things you have to be able to do is be in the game, and when you have 3-4 fouls in the first half, you can't do that. And right now, the posts for the Mustangs have done a great job staying out of foul trouble and competing at the top on all those shots.
Well, that's the second consecutive free throw that Maya Metcalf's been able to bring in an offensive rebound, and I'm sure that's driving the Central coach nuts. But Central isn't very large. Giroux's probably about their only size on the floor, and I don't think she can match the strength and physicality that Metcalf and Feist bring to the table.
So Metcalf hits that one, and she'll come back and play Giroux at half line. Ball gets stuck for a second on Giroux's hip, but she finds the cutter. Ball is still loose. A couple of bodies on the floor, and that ends up with a Central open 3-pointer. Giroux finds the rebound, sneaks around all of the Cheyenne Mustangs, puts it off the glass for 2. 1:30 to go now. See if the Mustangs look to attack. It does have Central in the double bonus, and I think they're going to say Lexi Terhark took one extra step. Ball flies forward. It is saved. Great hustle play, and Terhark almost saves it herself there. So good hustle play by Central. Could have been a turnover, but they get to keep possession. Giroux at the top now. And there's going to be an equipment timeout. Giroux's got a bit of a bionic knee, and so they got to retape that thing and make sure that the machine still works. So not sure what kind of injury she has in the past there, but that's a pretty heavy knee brace for Drew, but she's still looking very mobile. Into the corner, under 10 on the shot now. Good hands by Breidenbach to knock that free. I think she'll be credited with the block shot. Manson to pull, almost drops. Manson does have a quick triggers. It's a quick-looking shot, and she has no hesitation.
And I think the hallmark of any good shooter, she knows where she's at on the floor. It doesn't have to be a situation where she's right at the three-point line, but she knows where she's at, so when that ball gets to her, she's ready to pull the trigger as she does again here.
And that's the other hallmark of a good shooter, right, Coach? Even when a couple don't go through, you just feel the law of averages says the next one will. Foul there on the Mustangs will put Central at the line shooting 2. That's Breidenbach's second. First free throw goes long. Lauren Hillman at the stripe will shoot her second. And that goes off the front iron. And Hillman hustles for her own rebound. So with 15 seconds to play in the first half, looks like Central will have the last look at it. Good drop pass. And a great finish there. So with that, the Mustangs have a good offensive output, able to score 46 points in the first half and lead by 25 at the break. So we'll take a quick timeout and we'll return with the Cheyenne dance team. They will be performing live for us at halftime, so don't miss that. 46-21 in favor of the Mustangs. So that's the Cheyenne Palm team performing Confidence. And we'll take a quick break. We'll return from halftime in about 5 minutes with a recap of the first half stats.
I want to perform so I can teach my friends how to play the guitar.
I want to play this year so we can improve as a team and get some more of these.
I want to learn so I can expand my career opportunities.
I want to represent to enrich the world around me.
Mask up.
Mask up.
Mask up.
Mask up.
Returning to live action here in the second half. Mustangs up 46-21. Halftime stats for you, Coach. Breidenbach with 8, Maya Metcalf with 12, Feist with 2, Carson Sanders with 6, Lexi Terhark with 3, Olivia Manson with 10, and Brenna Dick with 5.
What stands out to me is the 12 from Metcalf and the 10 from Manson. Just kind of goes to show you can do it either way. You can score that, shoot that 3 from the outside and go to double figures at halftime. But Maya Metcalf did a lot of work on the inside and just kind of getting defensive rebounds, offensive rebounds, and doing that hard work inside as she pulls down yet another one.
Defensively, for Coach Hintz, he said, we got to keep Giroux to a minimum. She is the one that we're most worried about. They did hold her to 10. But overall, that's 50% of the Knights' points there, so he's got to be pleased with that effort as well. As Giroux, just as I call her name, she finds a way all the way down the center of the lane, and she finishes with a bucket. So the Mustangs with it. Maya looks into the interior. Great entry feed.
Good seal by Carson Sanders. She got that defender on her left hip and just sealed her there, made for an easy layup.
Good design out of that play from Coach Hintz. Tipped away, stolen by the Mustangs. Breidenbach looks ahead. Good extra pass that finds the open 3. Sanders with the fight for the rebound.
That's a tale of 2 possessions. Both teams are playing zone right now. Central flat-footed, just kind of waiting for passes to come to them as Cheyenne's moving, cutting, looking for open areas, and it's paying off on the offensive end where Central was having trouble moving the ball when they're on offense, even though they're facing a zone defense as well.
So Breidenbach, an excellent shooter, probably a mistake there to leave her that wide open. And she makes them pay, cashes in with nothing but net from the three-point line. Now the Mustangs will fall back into their 2-3. Skip pass, does get an open shooter. That goes long. Good job with Sanders there, boxing out. One of the more difficult things to do in a 2-3 is to find the body that you're boxing out. Sanders did a nice job there. Feist battling down low for that offensive rebound. It gets tied up, and it's going to be a jump ball for Central. So 53-23 with 15-14 to play in the second half. Mustangs flexing their muscles with a 30-point lead right now. Elbow is stolen. Mustangs ahead. Into the high post. Good job by Feist recognizing that cutter wasn't open, and she connects from about 8 feet. So with 14:45 to go now, Mustangs have extended that lead to 32. We'll take a timeout.
You're watching Cheyenne Mustang Media.
So Cheyenne just announced the 50-50 raffle. Both Coach Wolf and I are disappointed that our numbers weren't chosen, but it may be that neither of us had a ticket. So now the Central Knights look to work it around. They find an open look momentarily, but they pass on it. And that extra pass does lead to an open look for number 13, That's Ari with the bucket.
And I'm guessing that's what Coach Burris was looking for when he called that timeout. Just better ball movement, working the same side, forcing Breidenbach to try and cover two people, and it just wasn't possible, and that led to an open look.
Senior forward Jaden Feist with a powerful rebound and put back there for a bucket. Central looks into the corner. A little bit of a bump, but I think, yep, they are going to call a foul on that. Breidenbach gets called for a foul. First team foul for the Mustangs with 13:34 to go.
Drew's probably happy she has that knee brace on going up against both Feist and Metcalf tonight. It's, you know, they're physical players, and they're making Drew work for everything that she's getting tonight. So it's been a good defensive effort, I think, overall for Cheyenne. It hasn't been perfect, but I think for Coach Hentz, what you're looking for is just that steady improvement as the season goes on, as Cheyenne collects yet another offensive rebound.
Good job on the glass there by Feist. She looked for Metcalf, but she wasn't quite strong enough with that pass. Central comes back down. They miss. Manson on the entry. Sanders with it now. She looks for an entry pass, but Feist didn't have her defender sealed well enough, so that pass is stolen. Good defense there by Breidenbach.
This would be an opportunity for Cheyenne to kind of slow things down and kind of look for the shot that they want. Getting a little sloppy the past couple times down the floor, and I think just a little better ball movement, looking for an opportunity that they want.
Good shot there by Hecox. Rims around a little bit and unfortunately ends up out of the hoop. Couple of substitutions in for the Mustangs, replacing Metcalf and Manson. Hecox, great find there.
Feist working on those offensive rebounding stats that time down. Getting 3 looks at the basket and collecting 2 offensive rebounds in the process.
We've seen this from Feist a couple of times on the inbound where she recognizes, you know, if she can seal her defender, it's just a short little dump pass from the out-of-bounds play, and she's able to get something at point-blank range. Unfortunately, the first 2 don't go through, but she's able to grab her own board, and then on the third attempt, she is fouled. So one foul each now for the Mustangs and the Knights with just under 13 to play in the second half here. That free throw does go through, 58-25. Central moves around the perimeter. Good hands there by Hecox. Attack to the bucket. And the rebound. And a great decision by number 12 for the Mustangs, Fagerland, who said, I don't have numbers. I'm going to just retreat back and we'll set something up in the half court. Great find there from Hecox. All the way down low for Terhark. You know, and I hate to belabor the point here, but I keep looking up at the roster and looking at the number of sophomores that the Mustangs put in terms of their minutes and the way they play. They don't act like this is really kind of their first experience into the foray of varsity basketball.
No, they really don't. I think we saw maybe a little bit more nerves in that first game that we did against Devil's Lake, but I think they're growing accustomed to this and understand that if you just go out and work hard and stick to the game plan that's been drawn up for you, that good things are going to happen. And so I think we'll probably start to see some dividends for this the next time around when Cheyenne goes up against West Fargo and Davies and Red River and Devil's Lake and Shanley again. Probably a pretty crucial stretch of minutes here for Central. They're down pretty big already, but they're also going without Giroux here. And so if they're not able to generate some offense in these next handful of possessions, could mean pretty much the end of things, and with half the second half to go.
So that's Ari who's able to hit the 3 for Central. And you're right, Coach. Central, with 11 minutes to play, a little bit of do or die to cut this lead a little bit here. The Mustangs already had 59 points. In my version of Class A basketball, that magic number of 60 generally gets you, when you're a good defending team, that generally gets you a lot of W's. And Mustangs already approaching that with 11 minutes to play.
Yeah. I think, with their size advantage, Cheyenne seems to be content to play this zone, but I would almost like to see them go back to a man sort of situation. It looks like that's where they're at. With Giroux out and their size advantage, I think playing a little bit of man defense here and make Central beat them off the dribble or create some kind of shot is probably going to be the route you want to go.
Good attack through the Mustang defenders there. And that's kind of the second time that the Central Knights have found a sneaky little offensive rebound here in the last minute or so. So they get another possession out of it. Gets down into the corner. Good job picking it up the ball there by Terhark. And an attack to the rim. Rebound, Terhark. That's blocked. And that's the third time now. Kind of the same offensive sequence. We saw a Central attack to the rim. And they're able to come out with bucket there. That's Reardon.
I think even though the lead is secure, it looks like Coach Hintz is getting a little frustrated by the way things are going on the defensive end, as Terhark's going to pick up a pushing foul on that offensive rebound. I wouldn't be shocked if Coach Hintz opts for a quick timeout here coming up, just to kind of reset some things. He's going to try substituting and maybe getting some fresh players in to reestablish the type of tempo and defensive presence they want to have. But I don't think he was happy with those last few times down the floor on the defensive end.
That foul by Terhark looked to be a little confused by it. Sometimes I think the legs got tangled with the Central defender there, and unfortunately for Terhark, usually the ref was maybe late to the game there and seeing the action and only saw the consequence of it. Terhark didn't think she got much of a foul there, but in the end it gets called on her. Spin move there, I think. Time expiring, it does not catch iron, so that'll be a shot clock violation. Good defensive sequence there for the Mustangs. If you can have a 28-point lead and force the opponent to wear out the entire shot clock and not put it in, you have to feel pretty good about that. Over to Manson now. Both hands on it at the same time, but they're going to say that one ended up going off of number 15, Roll. Into Brennan Dick. Time to set it up, but that now it's under 10 in the shot clock. Manson looks to push. Swing pass. Sails out of bounds. Couple of substitutions back in for the Mustangs is Breidenbach. So 59-31 with 8:30 to go in the second half now. Mustangs look to be in a zone. Central just swinging around the perimeter, and then they find the high post. Good drive. Giroux finds her way to the free throw line. Drew able to put the first one through. And the second. So despite the focus being on Giroux, obviously from the defensive scheme, she's been able to get into the scorebook pretty well for Central, but it's one of those things that they probably just don't have enough balance from the rest of the team to keep themselves in it.
You're right, and that time Cheyenne looking for that high-low pass. They get that high post entry to Metcalf. She was looking for Sanders down low. Sanders didn't come high enough for that flash pass. Metcalf might have been better served to either kick it back out or maybe even just pop that free throw line jumper.
Smart move there by the Central coaching staff, recognizing their player was on the floor with the basketball, and they call timeout. So 7:45 to go, 59-33 in favor of the Mustangs. Timeout. So we're back to Cheyenne High School, 7:45 to go. Mustangs with a healthy lead here in the second half. Everything that Coach Hintz drew up pregame, his team has delivered, so execution has been effective. One of the points of emphasis was that one right there. Again, Guru is able to find that low post with a bucket. Pass up ahead to Manson. Guru able to sneak down and block that one out of bounds.
You know, I don't think Cheyenne's done a terrible job defending her. She's just a pretty special player, and if I'm not mistaken, she's a junior, so this is a player that Coach Hintz and the rest of the EDC is going to have to contend with for another year.
Offensively, especially, Hintz has done a lot to draw up ways to kind of protect his defense from some of her dribble attack, but unfortunately, she's a little sneaky and is able to get around with a three-pointer there by Breidenbach.
Very slippery, great control of her body. I think that's what often gets overlooked when you see good post players or good scorers. They know how to control their body around the rim and avoid contact and create openings to shoot.
Guru with a low look there, but that one just misses. Breidenbach looks to the corner. Brenna Dick with an immediate attack to the rim. Nice job looking baseline, but the shot fell short. Central seems content with moving the ball around the perimeter, and has a couple times got it really late into the shot clock, just as it was right there, but it did generate a great look for Guru, who gets a second great look, and this time she connects. Breidenbach looks down low. That pass didn't really have the angle, and that one sailed over the head of I think that was number 14, Sanders, yeah.
Sanders was open for about 2 seconds. Unfortunately, Breidenbach didn't recognize that Sanders had been open until it was too late, and then it was, as he pointed out, just too tough of an angle to complete that pass.
62-37 now. We're down to 6 minutes to play. Obviously, at this point, I would suspect that the lead is certainly comfortable enough to garnish the victory. But, we've talked to Hintz about this before. Every minute that these girls get in and gather more experience and learn more about playing together and playing at a high level, I think he's gonna recognize the benefit of that.
I think that's what he's going to really be focused on these last 5.5 minutes is just finishing the game, playing completely, not having a letdown, using this opportunity to get maybe some of those younger players in to get some varsity experience, but not just for the experience, but to run certain offensive sets, to run the defense properly. He's going to coach right up till the end, and I think he's going to expect his players to give the correct kind of effort and execution the way that he is looking for it.
Good look there for number 12. Fagerlund had a good look at 3, but she's not able to connect on that three-pointer, and I think they're going to call a bump foul, a block on that baseline attack on Breidenbach. That, I believe, is her 4th personal. So with 5 minutes to go, they're going to let Fagerlund sit a little bit. No real concern if she does end up fouling out just because of the score difference, but he protects her from that 5th anyway. Release pass comes up top. Foul away from the ball.
They're going to catch Myrold for a moving screen on that one. Central's trying to swing that inbounder around and swing the ball around for an open look at a 3, and Myrold was moving on the screen, and that's what they caught her with.
One thing I am really impressed with, Coach, despite the fact that Brenna Dick is a freshman and she is right-handed, you see her attack to the left frequently.
She attacks, period. She seems to have no fear out there, regardless of the player that's guarding her, and she has the type of quickness that is going to get her opportunities at the rim or the chance to dump off passes. That's a great Euro step there by Terhark.
That was a smooth offensive move right there by Terhark. A little bit of a baby Euro that got her through the defender and a finish at the rim. Especially important recognizing initially, I think she was setting up for a 3. She looked ahead, nobody was there, got all the way to the hoop. Foul that time by number 20 for the Mustangs, Terhark. Central to the free throw line, shooting 2. First is nothing but net for number 5, Myroyd. Holder and Husted in for the Mustangs now. A couple more sophomores. As we said, this is a sophomore-rich varsity squad for Coach Hintz. Second free throw does go through. Benedict pushes, realizes nothing's there, and then they'll set it back up. This is the Husted. Bumped initially, and that turns it over. Up ahead to Guru. She looks for a drop pass, but that ends up out of bounds.
That's one of those learning opportunities for these sophomores that are out here is some spacing where you don't want to get caught on the court offensively, running yourself into trapping situations, picking up that dribble when you don't need to. It's a good opportunity to get some good varsity experience here and to learn some of the things that you do and don't want to do when you're out facing an experienced varsity squad.
Ball rattles around the rim a little bit for number 23. That's Allie Dube. Now her second. That one goes off the front iron. Rebound. Central. Guru with it. She fights to get it back up to the rim, and she does. Rebound goes to Maddie Husted. She's able to pocket it temporarily before she's bumped over. 66-39, 3:23 to go. Quick shout out to the Mustang crew that brought you the game tonight. Sadio Abdi on the production side. Tatum Rasmussen on the camera. Appreciate those girls being able to get us this broadcast. Mustangs with 18 fouls now. This allows the Knights to be in a 1-on-1 opportunity, and they turn that first opportunity on the stripe into a second. So 66-40, 26-point lead, just over 3 to play. Makes them both. Stolen away. Wasn't much on that cut there. Guru pushes it up. Around the perimeter. Benedict jumps the pass and knocks it out of bounds. You know, we talked about this in our broadcast for the boys, but sometimes these younger players don't recognize which hand to get into the passing lane, and they go with the wrong hand. That gets their body up the wrong direction. Instead of knocking the ball down, they end up knocking it out of bounds, and that was the case there for Benedict.
Yeah, it was. Small things make a big difference if you're doing them properly, and again, things that I'm sure Coach Hens, Coach Demain, the coaching staff will address with the players after they look at some game film from tonight.
So that's Caitlin Haas with 2. Nice job there on the offensive glass, and then able to put it in with her left hand, no less. So talk about little things. Caitlin Haas comes back here and finds a way to do some of those things that you really appreciate, giving you second chance points. So that's 19 fouls now on the Mustangs. That free throw off to the left. Couple of substitutions for the Knights. .2:12 to play now. Central works it around. Quick update on the boys' side. Varsity team up at Grand Forks Central tonight. Girls here, obviously. The boys were able to come away victorious. The Cheyenne boys win pretty handily up there in Grand Forks. Continue their roll through the EDC, and we'll have them later this week on Friday. That's Holder with it now. Good little weave action there. Gets a back cut and an attack to the rim by number 15. Brooke Johnson had a look at it. Nice feed from Maddie Husted. You do like, Coach, when the game is a little bit out of hand. Nice move there again by Guru. She's really finding a way to put points on the board. But through that offensive sequence, minute to play, still saw some girls up from Central standing up, cheering for their teammates, excited. You got to like to see that.
Absolutely. I don't think you're going to find girls or boys in the EDC that are going to be mailing it in or giving up. Especially probably in this past year, as we've seen opportunities like this. Not every athlete is getting those chances. So, if you're going to get a chance to play in the era of COVID, I think you're going to make the most of all of those opportunities and work as hard as you can for every minute that you're on the floor, and you're going to support your teammates as well.
So with 20 seconds to play in the half, Coach, I think it's a good reminder to everybody just how special this opportunity is for these girls. Everybody's worked really hard to keep these girls safe and to give them an opportunity to actually play, and that's all sports really. You've seen a couple of times on our broadcast tonight some PSA announcements to ask you to mask up. So we'd encourage you to keep doing that so you can keep giving these girls that opportunity to play. And there's your moment of sportsmanship, both teams acknowledging a hard-fought game. And with that, the game concludes with the score of Mustangs 70, Knights 43. Last word, Coach Wolf, tell us what Hintz has to be pleased about tonight as we exit.
I think by and large, Cheyenne did exactly what he was hoping to do. They pushed tempo. They focused on defense. I think Giroux's a player that's just going to get her points, but I think they did a solid job defensively on her. And I think just he should be pleased. More experience for these sophomores, for these juniors. And then, again, I think that's going to pay off come end of February, beginning of March, when it comes time for the EDC tournament and trying to make a run at state.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the big takeaway for me is that Coach Hintz does have a team that will contend for that state berth. Certainly, you know, now they close into 4-4, 500 record right now. But like I said, you know, the losses that they had early were through the gauntlet, and now they really are competing at a very high level, even with you know, the likes of Red River, and we saw it against Devil's Lake, and here tonight they flexed their muscle and said, you know, we're ready to win, and I think we'll see that extended throughout the year. So for Coach Wolf, I'm Aaron Knodel. We'll end tonight's broadcast just saying a quick thank you to all the people that were involved again from the Mustang Media crew. Appreciate all the efforts. Appreciate the efforts of the Mustang Boosters for providing us with the equipment to get this stream to you live. And with that, we'll close up shot. Tonight, Mustangs win over the Grand Forks Central Knights.